the Daily Journal's Prep Focus on Football. I'm Tim Ahrens, your host and senior sports writer for the Daily Journal. Across from me, the authority on high school football in the state of Illinois, Steve Susi. And looking at your picks last week, I think you've redeemed yourself. You look like the authority on high school football.
Well, you know, I've been telling you for weeks that this is when the cream rises to the top here, and obviously from last week's results, there was some merit to that theory. So someone's doing his patented playoff push here, and someone's doing his, well, I don't know what you describe what you did last week.
Well, that would be a nosedive.
Yeah. Okay.
I folded faster than Superman on laundry day, so you know, and that's to be expected. We differed on 6 games. You won 5 of them, so that's par for the course. But I'm still tied with you for the lead at 110, and joining us also is sports editor Dave Sirico and WKN broadcaster Denny Lanus, right? They're logjam. Have we ever been this tight this late in the season?
I can't recall any time that we've had this many people fighting for the first place position. We'll see if you can manage to stay up there and instead of folding up like you did last week.
Picks will be secret ballot too, right? It's none of this waiting to see what everybody else picks and then...
What exactly are you insinuating?
Well, I'm not saying necessarily you.
Okay, well, that's fine.
There are other people who are tied with us.
Well, I make my picks when I put the sheet out. So
I'm well aware. I'm not accusing you of anything.
All right. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't saying something that you shouldn't be right now. Fisticuffs might have been necessary.
Well, there you go. So, okay, we are down now to 1 team in week 3 of the playoffs here. As we started the year with 15, and then got 7 of them made the playoffs. Got cut in half, just about in half. I guess you can't have 3.5 teams, but to 4, and now there's just 1, the Central Comets, and they are 10-1. And on Saturday afternoon, they will travel to Deer Creek, Mackinac to play the 11-0. I don't even know what their nickname is.
Chiefs.
Chiefs. That's right. I should know that. We've got the banner up in our room there. So, what do you know first of all about Deer Creek?
Well, as good as Central's been in the playoffs thus far with 2 blowout wins, Deer Creek Mackinac has been just as good, if not better. They've got a pair of blowout wins to their credit as well. So the proverbial rock is meeting running into the proverbial hard place here because both teams look really primed for this game. Deer Creek running that old-fashioned wing tee offense that tends to give a lot of teams a lot of trouble. Central's had a mixed bag of results with the wing tee this year. They had a lot of trouble with Oregon in week 2, but since when they've seen it, they've been dominant against it. So it's going to be interesting to see how much Central learned from that week 2 loss when dealing with Deer Creek Mackinac.
What do you think Central needs to do to win this game?
Central needs to continue scoring at the rate that they score. They've scored more points than anyone in the state through 2 playoff games to this point. I'm not saying that they got to hang 50 on Deer Creek Mackinac, but they do have to put up a lot of points because Deer Creek Mackinac is also capable of posting a lot of points. This might be a shootout. It might turn into a situation where the defenses, they're asked to perform 1 or 2 or maybe 3 stops, and that might be the difference in the game.
So I guess it comes down to now you're going to have to reveal that pick, knowing that I'm following you and can change mine.
Well, since we already disclosed this information earlier, it's not that big of a secret to me, but I'm going to go with my gut, which tells me I think Central's going to pull through this one.
I also am taking Central. Rob Laird, who covered the Moments Deer Creek game last weekend, thought he saw some chinks in the armor there of Deer Creek, and not that Laird is an expert on football, because, well, we know Laird's not really an expert on anything, but he is in the Hall of Fame, though, the softball writers Hall of Fame.
We're not talking about softball.
Yeah, we're talking about football.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So Laird let me in on that he thinks Deer Creek can be had, so I'll pick Central and hope that they move on. Did we have a player of the week last week with the 4 teams? Or?
Well, I think maybe we might want to consider renaming this award in his honor, but I'm going to go with David Payne from Central once again. 5 touchdowns in Saturday's win against Aledo, and obviously he's been a dominant performer for the Comets. He's not a one-man show, but he's certainly leading the show right now, and they're going to need, once again, another big performance from Payne, Kyle Frake, Cody Lemkel, Trent Faulkner, the rest of their cast, to get past a tough Deer Creek Mackinac team this week. Obviously, if we're fortunate enough to have a show next week, maybe Mr. Payne will get another one, or maybe he'll be kind enough to pass it along to someone else.
You know, and I think, and I could be wrong about this, but I think in the 10, 11 weeks we've been doing this, you've never awarded an offensive lineman the player of the week. Or even a composite group of linemen. What about those central linemen blocking their hearts out for David Payne, Kyle Frake, and Trent Faulkner?
Well, part of the award this week goes to the fact that Mr. Payne ran back a kickoff return and scooped up a blocked punt and ran that in for a touchdown too. So it doesn't all go to the run blocking, but I'm sure if you ask David Payne, who's a very humble young man, why it's happening, I'm sure he'd probably point to that line as well.
There's always the wedge in the kick return, which I think is still legal in high school football.
I believe so as well.
You can do that. So, anything else? I assume you're going to be in Deer Creek or Mackinac or somewhere south of
I'll
here.
be over somewhere by Peoria because at this point that's really all that I know about Deer Creek, Mackinac, and where it's located. It's somewhere over there by Peoria, and their head football coach's name is Joe. So that's all I got for you.
There you go. So, okay, that's going to wrap it up. A short show today because we have just the one team, and we're going to stick with the Comets as long as they're in it. We'll be here. So make sure you grab Thursday's edition of the Daily Journal. It's got some prep focus in it. I'm sure there will be a Susie column. Will there be a Susie column
Yep.
on the high school playoffs? So we got that going for us. There'll be some stats in there, and I'm sure just lots of other good stuff. So make sure you grab it. And until then, we'll see you on the sidelines.